All sorts of things here. You can use soil survey maps. You can use an aerial photograph. This is a center pivot out near Shelton. If you look at the intensive grid sampling with soil organic matter, and these are the colors as you can see there, similar to the different colors on your soil organic matter color chart. Moldova, I forget. A friend of mine, Boris Boynchin, he's using the soil quality organic matter color chart to measure the color organic matter of that soil. Duh. That's not a very big decision, is it? But this place has 500 employees. Their budget for this year was $500,000. 500 employees. Be careful. 2 USDA-ARS scientists. Oh, am I speaking blasphemy? I'm retired from USDA-ARS. I'm just putting it in perspective. Not saying anything, but I'm saying we got to get by. We got to get along with the tools we have. We need to break new ground. This is Marty Kleinsmith up in Hartington. We got the farmers out working with soil quality vests and one of the conductivity meter down there in the lower left. But you know, the farmers didn't always wear all these vests. They each got one as part of the course, but they may or may not use them. But I think they are using the conductivity meters because it's something they can carry right on their belt. I'm not going to go through all of this right now, but you'll see this in that one publication that I have in there. But with a small number of things like the vest and tools, you can get a lot of things done. You can measure soil respiration fairly simply with a Solvita test kit. And I've got a card up here if any of you want to see if you're working with students and want to measure soil respiration. There are definite relationships between water-filled pore space and aerobic and anaerobic microbial activity. And this is where the 6th grader helped me with these algorithms. It's just a linear function that describes those things. It's a very simple relationship that we can develop to talk about water. When do we have too much water? When is that going to result in the decrease of aerobic activity and the increase of denitrification and loss of nitrogen? Soil indicator for producers. I'm not going to go into detail on this. You can read it in your handout. But there is, conductivity can be a rapid estimator for nitrate nitrogen. 140 times an EC reading is less than or equal to the parts per million nitrate. And you can do tests for late spring nitrate N. I will say this, even though I get a conductivity measurement, I don't know how much is nitrogen, how much is nitrate, and how much is other salts, such as sulfate and whatnot. But if my EC is 0.01, I know I have less than 1.4 part per million nitrogen. There's nothing there. So you can use it as a test if you've lost all your nitrogen due to leaching or whatnot. Single most valuable indicator of soil quality is to simply dig a hole and see what's there. This is ridge till planting, Dick Thompson Farm, Boone, Iowa. He's got 4-row equipment. Here's 50% of his land is wheel track. Here's the wheel track. No roots, high rates of denitrification, tremendous loss of nitrogen. Over in the non-wheel track, optimal aerobic activities, 60% water-filled pore space. Over here, when it rained, water-filled pore space exceeded 80%. He blew off all his nitrogen and lost it. Our challenge in charting a course towards sustainability by translating science into practice. Now, you thought this was the end of the talk. It's actually only the end of the beginning. What can I do? I'm only one person. But change must come from within ourselves. And as Mahatma Gandhi said, we each must be the change that we want to see in the world. I had the honor of accepting an award in Greece the year 2000. It was $250,000. Well, That's too much responsibility for me. But I was able to say, that wasn't my award, that was your award, and all the people that have helped me. And so we used that to set up a trust fund, Renewing the Earth and Its People, REAP. Look it up on the webpage, www.reapfund.org. We give out grants. I would have paid $100,000 in income tax for that award. In the last 10 years, we've been able to provide $100,000 in scholarships to teachers and young people who want to find some changes and ways to do things differently. As I stood in Crete after going through all the hullabaloo in Athens and got a reprieve and escaped to the country, I stood and looked and saw in the background Mount Ida, the legendary birthplace of the mortal Zeus. And there on the hill was an Orthodox church of some sort. I don't know what it was. But I thought about all the civilizations and all the people that had passed through and come through these lands and all the things they'd seen and done. And two things came to mind. There's only a couple things we have to do, and we have to do well. We have to love one another. Now, some people say, this guy's a scientist. He's getting awful touchy-feely here. Well, if love one another, you can't handle that, try respect one another. And if that's too much for you, use Thessalonians and put up with one another. And the other thing that we have a mandate to do is to care for the earth. Let's take care of God's creation that we've been given. If we do just these two things, we don't have to have all these laws and rules and regulations. If we do these two simple things, we will take care of the whole situation. Okay, 2001, September 11th. I was trying to get a vision statement from the director of Ag Research Service. He was locked up in a bunker in the Appalachian Mountains. I tried for weeks to get a hold of him. This was after September 11th. He finally gave me his vision. A world in which our scientific and technological breakthroughs are utilized to benefit the health, safety, security, and community of all people. At the same conference I went to, Timothy Reeves, the director of CIMMYT in Mexico, his vision, a world where the gulf between the haves and the have-nots is closed up through more equitable global sharing of knowledge and resources. A new vision for agriculture, Tom Simmons, University of Delaware, balances our needs for increasing ag productivity, protect natural ecosystems, and improve the quality of our air and water and soils. What's going on here? They cleared the eucalypt trees, the brigalow scrub, the acacia trees from the land so they could plant the high-value pineapple crop. Their soils are actually slumping from so much erosion, and they're putting their cattle down on the level land for grazing. Go figure. Jackson, Nebraska, I forget the date when they had that tornado that went through. That's a tornado going up through Iowa. I forget this guy's name. He's from Oregon State. His vision is a sustainable agriculture and food system with sufficient diversity and resiliency to adapt to uncertain natural and social stresses. Our agriculture has to be able to meet the changes in weather and the changes in political climate that we run into. Small farms are more profitable. Charlotte Haynes, Haynes Hosiery. This is of Equinox CSA in Lincoln, Nebraska. Deputy Richard Rominger, his vision, a world where family farmers are paid sufficiently so they can produce not only food and fiber, but also soil, water, and air quality and wildlife habitats, and afford the investments in technologies for conservation. Warsaw, Poland. I arrived there. The farmers had taken over the Department of Agriculture. You can read what the banners say. I don't read Polish, but protest of the peasants. No freedom without justice. They had divergence in price of milk tenfold across the country. They had just knocked down the wall in Berlin. They were experimenting with democracy. We don't have a cookbook. We're all learning. And again, we're back to the balance we need to maintain. Charting a course towards sustainability by translating science into practice. We need to sing a new song. I'm not going to go through this one. I'm just going to flash through it. You'll be able to pick it up when you get your copy of the presentation. Amazing accomplishments we've made. But we have to think about singing this new song. This is combines followed by planters in Brazil. Picture in Australia. Sing a new song. Restoring hope to the people. Work I've been involved in Chad and Africa. People working with much different tools and different type of agriculture, but with the same problems. I took this picture in the rainforest in Australia. I've always been impressed by it. This is an old tree stump on which a young seed of a tree was planted. So we have the new birth of the young out of the old. We are the past, we are the future. In each of our lives are a foundation for a new world to come. Sing a new song to the earth. Nitrogen fertilizer plant in Puławy, Poland. You can see the brown nitrous oxide plume there downwind. The soil erosion in China. They should have learned. Farmers for 40 centuries. Restoring hope to the people. Not always with the tools that you might think. Simple tools, but tools which they know how to use themselves. May we each day love one another. I'm sorry, I've got to detract just to tell this one story. That little old lady there, we drove up, my good friend Kostas Boulouris, who's an agronomist with Grecotel in Crete, the island of Crete. I said, Kostas, I want to take a picture. Will you ask the lady if I can take a picture? He says, calm down, calm down. Let's get to know her first. So we stopped and she offered us some of her fruit. As we were visiting with her, I heard a car coming down the other side of the highway. All of a sudden, she scurries across the road like a chicken. And she had a stand on both sides of the road. She was working both of them. So, but we need to take time to get to know the people that we stumble upon, not just use them for our own purposes. And each day we must learn to care for the earth. And these are pictures of students. Some of them are students on Crete that were developing some projects on earth stewardship. This one picture of the little girl down there is actually at our church in Lincoln at the community garden, where each of the kids had a plant they put in, and then we take their picture and laminate it and put it on a stake and put it out in the garden. Sing a new song to the earth. A lot of different peoples, a lot of different races and creeds and beliefs. But in the final analysis, we're restoring hope to the people. These, I call them the flying nuns from Malawi. We're really getting a kick out of some of these soil quality test kit things. Sing a new song to the earth, for each day creation begins again. And this is a milk vetch cover crop. Maybe it was Austrian pea, I don't remember. But you can see the rich with nodules fixing nitrogen. And that's actually the cross in a cemetery in Ireland, in the village of Knocknagoshel, which is the home of my great-grandmother. For each day, creation begins anew. Thank you.